I picked up tick bite fever while making this video, and I'm a little bit under the weather. So I'm going to be taking a break from videos for a few weeks while I recover, but I really hope you enjoy this one in the meantime. See you soon. So today I thought I'd try out some hide photography here at Marievale. Now it does get quite busy on the weekends here, so I've occupied a corner of the hide, and hopefully I'll be able to stay here for a while and get some opportunities. If I can't, I think I'll probably move to my favourite location that you might have seen in previous videos. Anyway, I think as the sun's coming up, it's probably time I try and get some photos. One of the things that tends to happen in the early morning like this is your camera exposes for middle grey, and that is actually too bright for the conditions here. It is not that bright. So one of the tricks that I like to use is to underexpose the shots by about a stop to represent what it really looks like here. Now obviously you don't want to go too far with that methodology, because if you're photographing a dark bird and you want to relieve those shadows later in post, it's going to be very difficult to do so. But it's a good way of sacrificing a little bit of brightness in your exposure for extra shutter speed. And it's actually a more representative way of displaying the scene as well, because the scene is not really as bright as the camera thinks it is. Well, I've decided to forego the hide for the moment, because the only things that I can find there to photograph are moorhens and coots and a couple of ducks, and not that interested in photographing more coots and ducks. And well, ducks I am, but not moorhens and coots. They're rather common, and I have a lot of photographs of them already. So I've noticed that there's a lot of seed-eating birds in the thickets and bushes on either side of the road, and I think I'm going to try to photograph these guys using my tripod and standing next to the car. And I'll see if I can get any decent shots of them in this beautiful morning light. What's nice about these birds, in particular in this spot, is that they're very confiding and fairly territorial as well. And cisticolas are also birds that like to sit perched up on high spaces or high places and sing to mark their territories. So it's quite an easy species to photograph when one's exposed like this and in the open. And you can see I'm wearing drab clothing, and I'm trying not to talk too loud. And I'm also trying not to wave my hands around too much. By rights, I should probably be wearing gloves just to stop them from being startled by my white palms in the bright morning sun. I might try that next time. I tend to like areas that are busy in terms of birds, because I don't like wasting the good light hanging around waiting for something to happen. We just don't get enough of it in this part of the world with the sun rising so quickly. So I do try and find birds that are busy and active, where I can get close to them and photograph them. That's why a lot of my subjects tend to be these small grassland species that are busy in the morning, or perhaps gulls that are confiding. They don't mind people getting too close to them, because you can't afford to waste good light. It's really hard photographing here at Marievale today, and I'm just trying to decide what to do, whether to go home and call it a day, or whether to pivot and head off the 44 kilometers to the highland area known as Suikerbosrand in just south of Johannesburg. So it's been a bit of a mission to get here. But, having said that, the wind seems to be much lower here than it was at Marievale. And there's no harm in being out in nature, really, is there? Even if it is a little bit harsh in terms of light, it's certainly a beautiful, beautiful place. Well, this sort of windy corner is a place you certainly need to hang onto your hat, but it's a great place to admire the view out over the grasslands down below. The task is to scan these rocky outcrops and rocky areas and rocky slopes for any activity. And the type of things we can see here are, in this case, a mountain wheatear bobbing around amongst the rocks, crag lizards, and hopefully sentinel rock thrush. So the sentinel behaves in much the same way as this wheatear, bouncing around amongst the boulders, looking for prey to eat. So it's quiet and not easy to find these birds, but they tend to be quite sort of specific to an area. And this wheatear is still bobbing around on these rocks right here. Time for a badly needed coffee break, I think. Unfortunately, I've been hyper-organised and made myself sandwiches, but I've also been hyper-organised and made myself soapy coffee because I tried to clean my coffee flask out last night unsuccessfully. So, coffee tastes rank, but it does have caffeine in it, thankfully. I've just been trying to photograph some violet-eared waxbills, which are really fantastic little thornfeld birds. We're right on the edge of their range, and this belt of thorn trees is ideal habitat for them. They like to just scurry through these thorn thickets and call and chase each other, and they're very fast-moving, tiny little birds. I don't know if I've got a decent video or a picture of them, but I'm hoping I'll have something to show you. But in the meantime, this is what they look like. I'm just trying to pick up the sound of a bokmakeri, which is a beautiful bush shrike, in these aloe trees on the side of the hill here. And it's a wonderful looking bird, but it sounds sublime too, because it often performs a duet with its mate, and the two birds sing to each other a few meters apart. It's 5 o'clock, and I'm loving the way that this light is wrapping itself around these grassy golden hills here at Suikerbosrand. But unfortunately for me, they're going to kick me out shortly, so I can't go wandering through the landscape and looking for photographs right now. So, although photographically speaking it's been a slow day, I still think it's been a good day, and I hope I see you next time.